None of us can predict the future, but the best way of mapping a route towards the future and through it is to allow zillions of entrepreneurs to make trillions of decisions, not to have a central planning department in Whitehall, however well intentioned. It's definitely the case that if you invest public sector taxpayers' money in R&D to go and find things and invent things, you will indeed find and invent some things. I'm not suggesting that the rate of return on public expenditure is naught. I'm not saying it's the equivalent of taking a stack of £50 notes and burning them. It isn't. But I think the track record of government projects just is not as impressive as the track record of private sector projects. I think one of the things that the government really needs to bring about in order to have a climate that's good for industry is not just to get the regulatory burden down, I'd like to see that, but it's actually to have a regulatory burden that is certain. So when you're making investment decisions, you know what rules your company is going to have to comply with. You know the likely tax burden. You know indeed any subsidies that you might get. I'd wipe out most of those, but nevertheless I want them to be certain if we're going to have them. And the problem with politicians and the state, they can't help themselves intervening and tinkering. If you want growth, it's pretty simple really about how to go about getting it. Get the government out of the way. Limit the role and the scope of government, not just its spending powers, and get regulation down and allow the private sector to do its work. Wherever you look across the world, where that's happening in countries, you're seeing relatively good economic growth, and where you have a big state, both in terms of spending and in regulating and intervening, you have much less good growth numbers.